Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Cancer Conquering Community. This is our regular time, Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are, wherever you're watching in the world. And we are just so excited for our special guest today. She is one of our favorites. She's one of my favorites. I've known her for several years now, and it's really adding up. And she just brightens my day whenever I see her, whenever I hear her speak. And look at that smile. Just absolutely fantastic. And she has got an incredible story that she's going to share with us. And she is a fierce advocate for cancer. So, without ado, I'd like to welcome my friend Amanda Ferraro. Amanda, please introduce yourself. Tell us what's going on. And she's like the Energizer Bunny. You wind her up and she just keeps going. So, Amanda, thank you for joining us. What's going on? Please tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day. My name is Amanda Ferraro. I am a two-time acute myeloid leukemia survivor and a stem cell transplant recipient. I've also had 7 brain surgeries prior to cancer for an inoperable cyst on my cerebellum. I live with hydrocephalus every day and currently have a ventricular arterial shunt that goes from my brain through the jugular and into my heart to get rid of all of that hydrocephalus. So yeah, cancer. I was a mom. My son was 3.5 years old when I was first diagnosed. I went to the ER in
Let me pause
March.
you right there.
Okay.
You're still a mom.
I'm still a mom, yes. Still a mom. My son is 11 now. He was 3.5 when I was diagnosed. So back in March 2017, I went to the ER one night. I was told I was overweight. I needed to go home, eat some red meat. They thought maybe it was mono. I was fatigued, and that was all. Go home, you're fine. May of 2017, I went back to the emergency room to find out that I had AML leukemia. I actually had 15 blast cells in my blood in March, but because of overworked doctors and hospital rooms that are overflowed, the doctor just kind of blew it off and didn't check anything, saw me as overweight, and kind of just sent me home. So when we did find the cancer the second time, it was super aggressive, and because of that, I actually got a second opinion. So I went from one hospital to another. The second hospital didn't want to treat me because the cancer was so aggressive. So then we actually went to Robert Wood Johnson here in New Jersey, which is an NCI designated hospital where I was treated by a wonderful doctor. And I did induction chemo, which was 35 days in the hospital for leukemia because I tell everyone, when you have leukemia, you have cancer in your blood. So everywhere your blood goes, that's where the cancer is. It's your whole entire body, which is why they keep you in the hospital to monitor you because anything could happen. So my first induction was 33 days. Then I was able to come home. And then I had 4 consolidations. So then, like, I think we did like every other month. I did a week in the hospital for chemo, would come home. Then I went back every other day. Then when counts went up, it was like every 3 days, then every 5 days at the hospital. Then once I hit like the 1 month mark where my counts were good, I would go right back in. So luckily, February 14th, 2018, I was told I was cancer free, got to ring the bell. We were so happy. Life went back to normal until August. Randomly, all of a sudden, my tooth started hurting, my face swelled up, and I went to the emergency room like, what's going on? Maybe I have an abscess. I did have an abscess in my tooth, but there was also one blast cell in my blood when they took my blood test. went back to the hospital to have another bone marrow biopsy done to check to see what was going on, and the leukemia was back. So somehow, by the grace of God, that tooth infection that happened was a blessing in disguise because we caught it when it was just one blast cell. So I went back into the hospital for another induction. That was 35 days. And then about 2 weeks in, my oncologist said, you know, you have a genetic mutation which is causing this cancer. Chemo alone is not going to fix it. They gave me a 10% chance to live and told me I needed to have a stem cell transplant, and I was going to have a stem cell transplant because that was my doctor's only thing that he could do that he thought would make me live. So that's what we did. They went through Be the Match and DKMS and found a few people who matched all the HLA factors. And luckily, on November 28th, 2018, I received my stem cells. And man, am I so grateful for that. I actually was able to talk to my donor 2 years after transplant because he's overseas. He lives in Germany. But I met him. His name is Sasha. He has a beautiful wife, and his daughter will be 3 this year. She's actually born 5 days before my son. Her birthday's December 18th, and my son is Christmas Eve, which is just amazing. And so now I am cancer free, blessed, I like to say. And so I decided when I was going through treatment, I didn't want to have cancer. I heard, so my sister's had cancer. She had a PNET, which is a primitive neuroectodermal tumor, when she was 7 in 1997. She had brain cancer, and that was at the Children's Hospital, Philadelphia. So I got to see my sister go through cancer. Then my Aunt Abby had Ewing sarcoma. So then she had cancer. So I saw my aunt going through cancer, my sister going through cancer. I had another aunt who passed of breast cancer. So I got to see what she went through. And then my grandfather had esophageal cancer. So I was around people that had cancer. Later on, we found out it's a TP53 genetic mutation, which my family has Lee-Fraumeni syndrome, and that is the cancer causing genetic mutation that is found in your DNA, not just your blood. So with all that genetic mutation and everything, when I got cancer, I decided that I wasn't going to have cancer. Like, cancer wasn't going to have me. I was going to take the reins. So the first thing I did was I shaved my head on live video. I created a Facebook page called My Journey. And the first post was, my name is Amanda and I have leukemia. I shared it with all of my family and friends so that I didn't have to update everybody every single day what I was doing and send 1,000 text messages. But I just wanted to share what I was going through. So I went on Facebook Live and my mom shaved my head with my family and my friends there. And it's still on Facebook. You can still look at it. I still share it all the time. Um, because I felt like I wanted to be in charge. I didn't want the chemotherapy to take my hair. I wanted to do it because I felt like I was in charge of that. I wasn't going to let the cancer take anything from me. Of course, I was sick and everything, but I felt so strong. I also walked around the hospital floor like they make you walk, but I love to walk because I got to meet other people. And then I got to share my Facebook page, and I was like, oh, yeah, I have a Facebook page, and I talk on there, and I'd walk through the hallways on live with my friends and family. So it was really cool because I felt like they were with me, even though sometimes they couldn't come to the hospital or they were sick and they couldn't be there, or just like work schedules. But it felt like they were there with me because I had this Facebook page and I went live and they were commenting. So that also gave me another like big boost because I felt like even though I was doing it myself, I felt like my family and my friends were there with me, which gave me so much confidence. And then what really became cool out of it, I shared everything. I shared the good, the bad, the ugly, the diarrhea, the throwing up. I actually had an emergency appendectomy 4 days into chemo, which the hospital had never done a surgery on an active chemo patient. So I was one of one, emergency appendectomy, which was very scary because the surgeons and the oncologist didn't know if I was going to make it because your blood is so thin. Luckily, I did. And I'll never forget the surgeon coming out and coming into the room and saying, "You must have a guardian angel by your side because you didn't bleed at all whatsoever," which was like unheard of because usually when you have chemo and you're on all this medication, any little thing, you'll get a bruise or you can bleed. Not me. Somehow went through an emergency appendectomy, no bleeding. So I truly felt that when I was going through cancer, God was on my side. And a lot of people laugh at me when I say it and they just kind of shake their heads and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you survived." No. Everything, my cancer journey, being 10% chance of living, having an emergency appendectomy, needing to have surgeries, things happening during it, losing blood, the sky high fevers, everything that I went through, I still made it through. But not just making it through, like I felt it fiercely that I was going to. And throughout it all, I was never scared because I always had a feeling that God was with me throughout my journey. And, when the doctor said that to me, I was like, yeah, I do. So I started sharing everything on my Facebook page. Everything, the medications, diarrhea, the mouth sores, everything. But what was really cool is doctors can't share patient information because of confidentiality, but my Facebook page was public. So they could share my Facebook page. So instead of saying, like, "Oh, I have another cancer patient who's a mom," they said, "Oh, here's a Facebook page of a cancer patient I know." And then they realized, "Oh, wait, this girl's in the hospital walking around." So I met other moms that had children who had to leave them, who were there and upset, grandparents who couldn't see their grandkids. And we got to talking. And I was able to, communicate with other people who were there. And I didn't feel alone in my journey because I met other people. I thought I was the only mom who had a kid.
Come here.
Who was little, who couldn't see them, who was upset. But in reality, I wasn't. I just felt that way
I can't get
because,
up. I'm on the phone.
oh, because my life was kind of going crazy at the time. So it was amazing. And I felt like deep in my heart, that's what I had to do. That's when I started advocating. I wanted to really push the journey page to let people know why cancer patients are always having GoFundMe's, why they need money, what they really go through, what actually happens during the process of having cancer, because I wanted people's eyes to be open. A lot of times it's like, "Oh, you have cancer, you can start a GoFundMe page, or we have this, or we have that." But I wanted people to understand the reason behind that. So I just started advocating. I just started posting or making videos or sharing what I was going through. I showed bills that would come in. "Hi, I have insurance. I'm on Medicare or Medicaid, whatever it was now, but here's a $5,000 bill that I have to pay. This is why I have a GoFundMe page." And I shared everything. And the reason why I did that was because I saw my sister going through it, my grandfather, and aunt, and of course, friends. And I just heard a lot of backlash of, "Oh, yeah, they have cancer. They're going to make a GoFundMe page, or they're doing this fundraiser." But I wanted to be the voice behind cancer patients saying, "Well, this is why. Your life doesn't stop when you have cancer. Cancer just gets added on to every single thing else you have to do. So the laundry, the dishes, the house, the bills, all of that, plus this very expensive disease that you need all this treatment for on top of it." And then you're sick, and then you can't do things, and then your counts are low, and then you're on all this medication. But if the doctor changes your medication in the middle of a month because it doesn't work anymore, the insurance won't cover it because you already got 30 days of a different pill. So that time when you need to go to the pharmacy, you need to pay it in full. Nobody understands that when you're not in the whole cancer world. So I shared everything, and that's when I really started advocating. I I just posted what I wanted to post, and then Cure Magazine reached out and they said, "Hey, we love what you're doing. We see what you're doing. We really would love to talk with you." So I was able to speak with Cure Magazine, and then they had me write a few articles, which was so amazing. So then what I did was I decided I'm going to go public with all of this. And I chose a name, which was Cancer is an Asshole. I'm from Jersey. It's my favorite curse word, but it is. Cancer is that thing you don't want, that thing that's coming in when, you least want it the most. It's there, but it's like, ugh, the C word. Cancer is an asshole. So I created the Facebook page with Cancer is an Asshole. I created the Instagram, the Twitter. Everything was the same word, the same phrase, so that when you looked it up on Google, if you typed it in, everything would pop up. So I always tell people if you're going to create, let's say it's Cancer Zone, and you wanted to create Cancer Zone, do an Instagram page, do a Facebook page, do a Twitter, everything the same, so that way when people Google you, they can find you and they can find every outlet that you're on. So I always like to tell people if you're going to start an advocacy or even a personal, make sure everything is the same so that people can find you. That's number one. And then number two is just sometimes you don't know what to say. Just be yourself. I am every article you read, you can tell it's me writing it because it's how I talk. And truly, my voice was just able to, I guess, I said things that a lot of people didn't say. I said the stuff that, nobody talks about diarrhea. Nobody talks about not being able to save your eggs because you had a 10% chance to live and chemo was more important than kids at the time, but how bad that hurts as a woman to not be able to bear any more children and to not be able to give my child a sibling. And we think of, oh, fertility problems, but it's like, okay, well, it's not me, so I'm not worrying about it. I spoke about it because, yes, I am a woman, but there's so many other cancer patients that go through it. And if there's not someone saying it and not someone sharing about it, nobody's going to know. So I chose the things that I just felt in my heart needed to be spoken about. And those are the things I said. And those are the things that people gravitated towards. So through just me having a Facebook page, I was able to have a TED Talk. I was able to go to Washington, D.C. and Capitol Hill. I joined the American Society of Oncology, OSCO, the National Coalition for Cancer Survivorship, which is now Cancer Nation. I've joined a lot of groups. I've been to Washington, D.C. I'm working on my board certification now. I was able to do the Patients Rising Advocacy Masterclass. I have been able to go from cancer patient to turning cancer into a career for myself and getting paid to speak publicly and getting paid to write articles and people asking me for my advice. I've done CDMRP for the Department of Defense Consumer Reviewer. I've done so many different things, and cancer is huge. Everybody nowadays knows someone in your family or a close friend who's had cancer. Cancer is not a taboo word anymore. The cancer rates have risen over 100% in the past 5 years. Cancer is everywhere. So let's break it down. Let's cut this taboo out and let's make cancer a little less scary. If we talk about it a whole bunch, it's not so hard to hear. But again, things I feel like when you are diagnosed with cancer, there's no guide. There is no guide to where do I go for money, who can help me out, Meals on Wheels. What about getting scholarships? Like, how do I get all that stuff? There's no guide to it. So my page, my website became a guide for cancer patients. And I also talk about that with doctors. Things cancer patients need to hear. Those are the things that you spread out into the world. What did you go through in your journey? Everyone's journey is different. So just because there's another cancer patient that has breast cancer and oh, well, they might be doing something, just because they have breast cancer does not mean their journey is the same as yours. Just like fingerprints, we're all different and we all have a different journey. So if you feel like you want to share what you're going through, whether it's anonymous or you want to put your name on it, I say go ahead and do it because you never know who's listening, you never know who's watching, and you never know what you can do just by sharing your voice. So,
Excuse me, Amanda.
yeah,
I want to give you a break here. I don't think you need it, but I want to give you a break. What I'd like you to do is kind of share with us, how old you are, and start from the beginning, because I don't know if a lot of people have heard your story since birth, and kind of go back to that so people understand a little bit more about you and where you're coming from. And I
okay.
know it doesn't take long for you to recharge your batteries, and that's why we love having you. And so go ahead.
Okay. So when I was born, April 21st, I actually had double pneumonia because I swallowed my mom's amniotic fluid. They didn't get it out fast enough. So I was in the NICU for a little while when I was born. When I was 3 or 4 months old, I actually had scarlet fever. And then I was good for a little while until I was about 7 years old. I had a lot of headaches. So the one of the doctors, ears, nose, and throat doctor, did my adenoids taken out and tubes in my ears, which didn't really work because I still had headaches. So my parents took me to Children's Hospital Philadelphia, 1996. And we did a CAT scan and they saw the cyst on my cerebellum. And then the next day, I had brain surgery. That brain surgery lasted for 10 years until my senior year of high school. I was having headaches again. All the tests were coming back negative, all the MRIs, CAT scans. Nobody could see what was going on, and they thought I was a hypochondriac. And, you know, they didn't they didn't believe me basically, but I know my body. And so when we went back to Children's Hospital, we went to the chief of neurosurgery, and he said, I will do exploratory brain surgery on you if you think you need it. Because at that point I told the doctor, I want to die, I can't live like this. So he said, we'll do exploratory brain surgery, but if you're lying, it's exploratory brain surgery. But I knew in my heart something was wrong. And when he went in, the cyst ruptured because there was 60 pounds of pressure on my head, and I lost 2 pints of blood from everything rupturing. He actually nicked a nerve when he tied the cyst into the fourth ventricle of my brain. So that's why sometimes my eyes go crazy. It's just from brain surgery. So that was in 2006 was my second one. 2007, about 6 months after that brain surgery, my brain started, having really bad headaches again. The hydrocephalus was really bad. So they went back in and again cut the cyst, drained it, and then tied it back up. Unfortunately, again, within a few months, that was not helping. So 2007, I went to Mount Sinai. They did another surgery, which was good. It lasted about a year. But then again, I started having more problems because as you grow, so does your brain. And your body heals itself very, very well. So a lot of the times when they were cutting the cyst and tying it back into the brain, that would all heal up. So then in 2008, I had a surgery in November. And then because it was draining too much fluid out, because my brain was used to having pressure on it, I had to get a valve so they could keep some pressure in the brain. So that was December. So I had one in November and then another brain surgery in December of 2008. I was good up until 2011. I started having really bad stomach pains associated with really bad headaches. And again, the doctors are like, everything's fine, everything looks good. So my primary care doctor, who's absolutely amazing, got me into John Hopkins with the chief of neurosurgery again because nobody could figure out what was wrong. At that time, I've already had five brain surgeries, and they kind of looked at me like I was nuts. But I knew something was wrong. So we went and did a test, and we found out that the shunt wasn't working. It was a nuclear test, which no other facility had. So when I went there, he's like, "Yeah, we'll take it out next week and we'll put a new one in." They took it out. It was 2011. I think it was August 2011. They took it out, and when they tested it, they saw that I had a staph infection in my shunt, and that's what was causing the blockage, why I wasn't draining, and why I was getting these pressure headaches again. The doctor told me if that would have went to your brain, you would have died, and nobody would have known unless they tested your brain, which they probably wouldn't have. For some reason, it didn't go to my brain, and I'm still alive to this day, which they have no idea how staph infection didn't get into my brain from my shunt because it was in the tubing of the shunt. So again, a miracle. Don't know how. And then the last surgery was in 2011 when I was 16 weeks pregnant with my son. So when you're pregnant, your heart beats faster because obviously you have another body that, needs blood. But because my shunt goes into my heart, it was like, so here's the heart. It was like scraping every time my heart would beat faster. So I had to have my head shaved again, 16 weeks pregnant, and have another brain surgery to shorten the stent in my heart so it wouldn't scrape and pierce the heart. So yeah, that was 11 years ago. And so today, so far, everything's good. I do have to go back in 2 years for 25-year evaluation, but so far, so good. So after I had my son, 2013, 3.5 years old. In May 2017 was when I was diagnosed with AML. So my mom calls me a cat. She's like, okay, your 9 lives are over, 7 brain surgeries, 2 times cancer, you got a stem cell transplant now. You're all new again. But like I said before, I truly felt like I'm here for a reason. I've been through so much in my life that I'm going to utilize it. I don't know if I'm not here. I didn't go to ministry school, but I feel in my heart my faith. I'm here for a reason. And with that, I truly feel like, you know what? I could do anything that I put my mind to. And I really love advocating, and like I said, I've seen it from so many different aspects that I feel like I can, share it from being the sister or the granddaughter or the niece of somebody who's been through it, and then having it myself. I knew it was my time. So that's a little bit about the journey that I've been through with the medical issues.
Amanda, would you expand? You kind of glossed over it real quickly, and I haven't heard this. Would you mind talking about how you had the opportunity to meet your stem cell donor and talk a little bit about that? I think that would be great.
Yeah, so we actually met on Tim Soane's show, Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. So I really want to go to Germany, and I still have a little fund going to try to make that happen. The issue with COVID and everything kind of stopped because I couldn't get a vaccine and all that. So we're still going to meet, but we were able to meet via video chat. It was 2 o'clock in the morning for him. He stayed up graciously, and my mom was there, and I was there. My friends were like in the audience on the Zoom meeting, and he spoke such good English. He's German, but he knows English. And I got to meet the man that saved my life. And like for me and my mom, like I still get teary eyed. For him, it was a couple shots and blood transfusions. Like they just take your blood and then, through the machine, they separate the blood from the stem cells. But for me, it was a second chance at life. It was, watching my son grow up. It was being a mom. It was more time with my family. And it was just so amazing that he was willing to show up and talk with me about it and what it meant to him and his family, because like his parents ask about me and they send me things from Germany and we send them things from the United States, and it's a wonderful connection that I didn't know would happen, but I'm so glad it did. I do. So today I have his hair texture. My blood didn't change because we're both the same, we're A positive, but your blood can change during transplant. I have his taste buds a little bit, his allergies a little bit. Um, I also, yeah, have his DNA a little bit. So, I did have to sign something. When you get a stem cell transplant, you need to make sure that you're careful with not swapping blood, doing bad things. So, had to sign that paper as well. But it was so wonderful that this man from Germany who was 22 years old decided one day he got a call and he was willing to save someone's life. So, that was pretty amazing.
I absolutely agree. In fact, I had the honor of being on that call myself. It was really a special thing. So, if anybody wants to see that video, you could go to Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer YouTube channel, and it'll be there. Look up Amanda Ferraro on there. She's been on there several times, as same as myself. Um, I mean, what an incredible story, Amanda, that you have and what you're doing. So keep doing it. Absolutely keep doing it. And you do it with such incredible passion. So my question for you is, how did you develop this passion and this fire within you? I mean, it's special. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and the reason I bring that up is because I don't see it every day. When I do see it, it's like a bright, shining light, and it really stands out to me. And I was talking to a woman yesterday who is a grandmother. She's 75 years old and is just fighting like crazy to save her life every day. And we talked for a long time yesterday. And to see the passion for life is just special. So would you mind talking about where did that come from? Especially for all the things that you've gone through and how young you are. It's just amazing.
Yeah, probably my mom. My mom, watching her be a parent to my sister who had cancer and me at the same time, really lit a fire under me. And my mom was superwoman to me. Like I saw her, sorry, changing my sister's dressing, giving her Neupogen shots, having to give her chemo at home, having the whole nurses and her having a smile on her face and bringing me to cheerleading and cooking dinner and being a parent. I really was like, wow, like my mom's the best. And then watching her with her sister that had cancer. And again, the nurses, the shots, the dressing changes, my mom did it all. When my grandfather died, she was there again, doing everything for him. And when I was sick, she kind of of course, we didn't know what would happen. And then when we found out I had a 10% chance, and when I relapsed, I was just like, I don't think I could do this. And she looked at me and said, you know what? I was able to do it because of my children, and I didn't stop fighting. If you want to go, you can go. But you have to look your son in the face one more time and tell him that you don't want to be here for him. And it kind of kicked my ass. And I do everything for my child. I do everything for him. The fire that's in me is Mama Bear. It is. I'm changing the world for you. I'm making the world a better place for you and all of my family members that have this stupid genetic mutation, and cousins that have had cancer, and their children that might end up with cancer, and all the people that don't feel like they have a voice, and especially like low income. I fight for them too because I feel like a lot of the times they're not treated as good because they might not have money or need, state help. Which I've been there when I had cancer. It was really hard for us. I had a little kid. Jesse was working. His mom came in and helped with like rent and stuff, but it was so hard. And so I do everything I do for my son with his face in the background, fighting and just trying to make the world a little bit healthier, safer, and better for cancer patients. Because I know, because of the genetic mutation in the Leaf-Romney syndrome, I'm not the last person that's gonna have it in my family. I actually just lost my aunt on August 1st to breast cancer. So I fight that fires in me for my family, my child, and the people that come after me. I have that fight because if I'm not gonna do it, who will? Sorry, that was hard.
No. Thank you so much for sharing. So sorry about your aunt,
Thank,
Amanda.
thank you.
I had the pleasure and the honor to do an interview with both Amanda and her son Isaac. And her son and the bond that they have is absolutely incredible. I mean, she is raising just a beautiful, beautiful human being who is just, and it's a tribute to you, Amanda, for the, I mean, I was doing this interview and it was just fascinating to me to watch the love between mother and son, and he is really, really a smart young man, and you should be, and I know you are, you should be so proud of him,
Yeah.
and he's going for some kind of an athletic award I saw.
Yeah.
Uh, and tell us a little bit about him. Talk about him.
Yeah. So when I was diagnosed, like I said, Isaac was 3.5. So obviously we didn't tell him everything, but we also kind of did it at his age. So mommy's sick and I have to go to the doctor's, and I'm having sleepovers at the doctor's house. We called it the doctor's house. Because I need to get a little better. But mommy would be okay. And we did video chats and stuff like that. The second time around was harder because he didn't like to see me bald, so I wore a wig a lot the second time. That was mostly for him. But again, he was in the room when the doctor told us what was going on. I had me, my husband, his mom, his stepdad, my dad, my stepdad, my stepmom, my mom, my grandmother. Everybody was in the room. It was a family affair. Everybody was together, and Isaac was not excluded because he was a child. He probably had no idea what was going on. But what he saw was mommy's sick and everyone in the family is here for her. That's what he got to see. So, through everything,
We lost we lost her. Huh. Something must have happened with her Wi-Fi or something. We'll wait and see if she, oh, there she is.
I'm so sorry, the connection got lost.
No problem, Amanda.
There you go. Okay. So through the journey, Isaac got to witness everything with me, but the family was there as well. Like he would stay with Jesse during the week and then go with my mom on the weekend and then come see me in the hospital. And he was there through everything. And I didn't shy away from telling him it was cancer because I wanted him to understand that. But he changed the dressing when the nurse would come. He would do the saline when I had my IVs, my port and everything. And I really like integrated him into the cancer journey so that he could be with me. And then, yes, he saw me sick, but then he also saw me getting better. And then when I made my Facebook page and I talked with him, I made my website. He decided that he wanted a website because he wasn't allowed to say cancer is an asshole. So he made a website for him and kids. So his website is Cancer is an Imposter. And it's for children. It is for kids that have cancer. He actually made a book called My Mom Got Sick, and we published it when he was like 6 years old. So it's very like little kiddish. But that was his book. And he wrote, like, my mom's sick. She goes to sleep over at the doctor's. I love, I see her, but she doesn't have any hair. But when she comes home, I like to cuddle. And it was very cute for him, and I wanted to do that for him so he could have something in the future to look back on and say, yeah, that was really, really scary, but look, we got through it and I made this, and he could share with his kids one day. Actually, it's in the library in our town, and it's at the children's hospital, and we donated another book to the library at the hospital where I was treated. So you can look it up, you can read it online, you can order it. It's really, really cool. And he isn't afraid to talk about cancer. Can you imagine a generation of children who aren't afraid to talk about cancer and the things that happens with cancer? And like, if you do get it, they're more willing to help you and talk, because it's not this taboo thing. Oh, cancer. It's this, okay, cancer, let's come together, let's work together. It's not like, oh, everybody left and my mom's in the hospital by herself. It's a community type thing. So we talk about it when family members get sick or they die. We talk about the circle of life and things that happen. And he's very open. Actually, there was a little girl whose dad was diagnosed when my son was in fourth grade, and the guidance counselor asked if Isaac could talk to her because she was having a hard time. So they put them two together in a room, and Isaac was like, "Yeah, my mom was bald, and my dad is bald," and they were talking, and Isaac helped her so much because it's another kid talking with one another. And it's not really heard of children being able to talk. We did put him through play therapy, which helped so much. I always recommend therapy for children, especially play therapy, because they're like having fun, not really knowing what they're doing. And you're talking, and it helped him so much. Even to this day, we do it every other week. It's amazing. But yeah, he talks about cancer, and it's not this scary thing, and he's not petrified of it, and he knows, okay, if somebody has it, we come together as a family and we do it together, and he's able to discuss it without getting scared and hurtful or anxiety. And I think that's the best part as a parent, of seeing him outside of the home, being able to talk to kids who've lost a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or a parent, or someone who has cancer. Even I know, like, one of his football players' grandmas was just diagnosed with cancer, and they were talking and like on the phone. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna see this and that, but it's okay," and the medicine, and it was just amazing. And to me, in the cancer space now and advocacy, it's hard for doctors to go home to talk to their families about what they do. And that he's 11 years old now, and they're on the football field just talking about it because it's not scary to him. It's not a taboo word. It's not. It's life. So like, could you imagine that? Like in the schools when you're in health class, they'll talk about cancer because, it's all over the place and everybody knows someone who has it, who's done, So I just think it's wonderful to incorporate the kids in it. Obviously, not everything according to age, but when you talk about it with them, just like monsters under the bed. They're going to think they have monsters until you show them and until you talk about it with them and explain to them, like it's okay, it's just their fears, it's the dark, we'll put a light on. It's the same thing with cancer. And then they stop being scared of it, and then the scariness goes down, and then the education happens, and then they're free. They're free and clear. So I always like to incorporate Isaac in everything that we do. And so, yeah.
And you bring up a great point, and I get this question a lot, is how do I deal with cancer in my kids? And what you did is, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, what you did with Isaac is what should be done, is bring them into the fold as soon as possible, because otherwise they're going to be questioning and feel like you're holding back from them. And what's fascinating to me is I've talked to a number of children of people with cancer now, and the maturity level that I see in these kids is just next level. I mean, it's like the maturity that they've developed, and that's fascinating to me. Um, I'm not telling people what to do or how to do it. They're your kids, and it's your journey, and you deal with it how you feel you should. However, what I've seen time and time and time again is the sooner you bring them into the fold and share with them according, to age appropriateness, explain what's going on, because what this cancer journey is about alleviating the fear and education. And the more we know about cancer, whether we're an adult going through cancer or a child who's watching a parent go through cancer, if we could, shorten that gap and bring them into the fold and say, hey, we're going to fight this as a family. And our guest next week, Jen McCormick, that was the title of a video that we shot with her, is cancer is our fight. It's a family fight, and you bring together the family so you're all on the same page and you can all deal with it accordingly. And what's beautiful is it brings the family closer, and that's what I've seen with you and Isaac, without question, Amanda.
Now, when I was going through it, I was told over and over again by nurses and doctors, he's so young, he's not going to remember. He remembers everything. He remembers me going to the hospital. He remembers me not being home. He remembers how he felt, the abandonment. He remembers everything. Like he doesn't cry anymore. Like he can talk about it, but he remembers. And so I tell every patient I see, every mom or dad, I have a dad that I help too. I tell them you can tell your kids not everything that's going on, obviously. They're not going to know medications name, they're not going to know statistics and science facts. But you let them know little by little because when someone hides something from you, you feel it, right? You can tell when they're hiding something, when someone's upset and crying and they're like, "Oh, I'm fine." You could tell. Kids can tell too. They can sense that we're not okay or something is wrong. Don't hide it. Bring them into it. Let them talk to you about how they're feeling or what they think we should do. Let them be part of the conversation because that's how they learn as well. So That's what we did, like, because that's what my mom did with me when my sister and everybody else, they talked to us. We understood. We went to the hospital, and I've seen it. So I just did what my mom did with me, and Isaac's turning out pretty good. So I did something right.
He's turning out great. He is an amazing, amazing young man. And yeah, it was just an honor to have met him and talk to both of you. And yeah, if you ever want to see it, it's on my YouTube channel, The Be Your Own Hero. Uh, the interview that I did with Amanda and her son, and absolutely amazing. And you're doing amazing, amazing work. And
Thank you.
so talk about more about what you're doing advocacy wise, and because I know you're doing a lot, and every time I talk to you, there's always something new that
Something
I'm
new,
like, I
yeah.
haven't heard that.
So I was working on a project I can't talk about yet, with the clinical trial. I did send an NDA. That's what I've been doing like the past 3 months. That's why I've been kind of quiet. But I did join the Alliance for Clinical Trials, and I'm in the leukemia trial. So we're really trying to get a lot more funding for leukemia because blood cancer rates have gone up almost 200% in the past 5 years. So we're really trying to get a lot of funding and clinical trials passed to really help and try to cure as many people as possible. Um, but going to Washington, D.C., speaking with legislators, trying to get money funded for scholarships and help, and making people understand why cancer patients need the help that they need. Really working with like low income. So a lot of the times when you're lower income and you do get cancer, you can get Medicaid. And one of the things you get on Medicaid is a free cell phone. Why not have cancer apps on the cell phone so people are able, when they do get it, they're able to talk to other cancer patients and have a community already built into something. So we're really working on that, trying to get that implemented into the United States, which fingers crossed, we've heard a lot of good things. So let's see if that gets passed. Trying to get, like I said, more funding. I will be doing CDMRP again, so we'll see what that happens. I love talking with scientists and doctors about how they actually make the medications, how many years it took to come up with the whatever they're doing to make it. It's insanely fascinating. I love the science behind everything. And then so I started writing my book as well, and then slow going, but hopefully that'll be done next year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
I didn't
In
tell
fact,
many people. It's the first time I'm telling you guys. I'm working on it. Been 2 months. I did have someone reach out and say, I think it's about time we put your story and all the YouTube and all of the things that I've done into black and white. So I'm excited about it.
wow, how many chapters do you have?
So far, three. So what I did was I brainstormed everything. So I did like 1 years old, 2 years old, like throughout my life with my parents and everything. Still in phases of asking people if I can use their stories in the book. That it's a lot of NDAs and agreements because you don't want to get sued, which I didn't realize, but it's a lot to write, but yeah, I have about 3 chapters, the first three done. I just started on like the childhood from after brain surgery, like when my sister was diagnosed. So I have to go through like my aunt, my sister, my grand, like all that. I know it's going to be hard when I do mine because I have so many things to say. So cutting things out is the hard part, but I'm excited about it.
Would you, when your book is done, would you come back and would you share it with the group?
Of course, I would love to.
That sounds great, Amanda. Dr. Gary, you have something to mention?
Amanda, all I can say is that one person, one human, one blessing like you can make a difference in the world. And, it's so special your story, the fact that you've taken away the scariness and the monstrosity of cancer. We need more Amanda Ferraros. We need. It's so wonderful that your legacy is going to live on in your websites, in your son, in your son's websites, in your spreading. You spot on spreading, your wisdom, your journey, your travels. I think it's more important what you're doing than cancer chemotherapy or medical science. Everybody is dealing with this. Everybody knows someone in their family, in their circles. And it's so wonderful that you, one person, have taken the time to be, there's a fire in you. God has put a fire in you, and God is blessing you with life and with communication. Your story is so real, raw, and transparent. We all on this phone call have had difficult journeys. Putting your journey in writing and putting it on social media and utilizing AI and utilizing, you know, the channels and the means to share your story is so incredibly important. And Mark, thank you so much for having this community. Amanda, for just sharing and being an incredible mom, sister, patient, daughter. Um, People need to hear this. I can't wait to share it with my family. It touched my heart, and we love you. Thank you. Keep doing it.
Thank you, Dr. Gary. I appreciate you.
Everybody else have anything that they want to mention, questions? Uh, okay, I
I
will
just,
ask. Go
if I
ahead.
can
Go
to
ahead.
say to Amanda, thank you so much for what you're doing. It resonates with me very deeply. I also have a son, and um especially the work that you're doing to normalize cancer. Uh, One of the hardest things for me was having to tell my son I had cancer. So, yeah, I mean, if I would have had your resource available to me at the time when I did that, I think that might have made it a little bit easier. And yeah, I just really appreciate the work that you're doing, the advocacy. We have that in common in a different way because I advocate for um, parents of children and teens and young adults with mental health challenges. So the advocacy resonates with me, and also the mama bear fire and strength.
Yep. Oh,
Having a difficult journey from the get-go in a different way in life, that all resonates with me, and I just admire how you've been able to turn pain into purpose. That
thank you.
is what I say a lot and try to live by that. So thank you so much for just doing what you're doing. I think it has helped a lot of people, and it'll continue to do that. So yeah, I just feel inspired and lucky to have the chance to hear what you've been doing.
Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie.
Mark, can I say just something short to Amanda?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Lihia.
I just want to say thank you so much for being here, for being such a brave woman, a mom. And what you are doing is not only making the difference in the world, but the way you are raising your kid is amazing. At the end of the day, is the legacy we live in the world, right? And you are leaving a beautiful, amazing, and inspiring legacy to
Thank,
everyone.
thank you
Yeah, I
so
really admire you, and someday I would like to meet your son. I mean,
much.
I'm so um impressed by what he's doing too. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
and I
playing
love
video
kids.
games right now. I would have had him come in, but he's on the phone with his friends. But yeah, we'd love to have him join one day. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah, that would be amazing. I will test you.
Okay.
But thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for inspiring us
Thank you so
and
much.
and sharing your journey.
Thank you.
Mark,
We
there's the
love you.
next mother's son.
There you
Oh,
go.
I know. I've already interviewed them both, but we need to.
Oh,
In
great.
fact, Amanda, we'll have to bring both of you, you and Isaac, back on Cancer Conquering Community as a
Yeah.
team.
Okay.
Uh, that's what we're doing with Dr. Gary and his daughter Chantel
Yeah.
on September 18th.
Yeah, we'll
So
have to choose a day that he's not in school that day, but absolutely, I would love to do it.
yeah, I think that'd be great, great
Yeah,
input there, Dr. Gary. Thank you. And that'll be a lot of fun. I mean,
yeah,
I was just so beyond impressed at how
yeah.
intelligent at 11 years old and how thoughtful he is and the way he thinks. It just blows my mind. And, after seeing Isaac, her son, uh, these are the kind of young people that give me hope and inspire me, for the
Yeah.
next generation, that
Mm.
the world will be and our country will be in good hands. And so, yeah, that's my feelings on that. And what you're doing is very similar. What you did with Isaac and bringing in your family is very similar to what happened with myself. Is I wanted to bring the whole family into my journey right off the bat, and it made a huge difference, and it makes a huge difference today. And there's nothing like it. Some people choose other routes, and I respect that. Whatever people decide to do, that is their prerogative. But to bring the family in, what it does, for you long term and things that you can't see are priceless, absolutely priceless.
Because then
Um,
you don't feel alone in your journey and you can talk to
right.
them about it so you're not as isolated and you don't get as much like anxiety and depression because you have people to lean on who understands what you're going through. And it's also that mental health aspect of like, oh my gosh, it's just me and I have this huge burden. But when you can, slice it just like a pie and everybody gets a little piece, it's a little bit easier.
It's a
Mm.
great
It's
analogy.
amazing. It's
You're
amazing. I would
right.
like to connect with him and spread the word through his work because I'm
Yes.
an advocate for children. So I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I really admire what you and he are doing.
Thank you.
Really.
I'll share the video in the cancer conquering community so you guys can watch it.
Amanda, and
Yeah.
you and
Thank you so much.
Lucia, who work with kids, kids are like an innocent, open plate. They do see everything, they do hear everything. And the fact that they do, and then when they have the understanding and the wherewithal to communicate and see with their eyes and hear with their ears what's going on, to take away that fear, they're going to school, they're interacting with other kids. And if they
Right.
can the difference that you've made with Isaac and that Isaac has made with his peer group and his friends,
Wow.
that spreads.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
they're
Especially on the football field because literally last night, LJ, one of his best friends, told him, my grandma has cancer. He was really upset. And Isaac was like, okay, well, is she doing chemo? Like, just came out with it. And like, the coach actually told me, because I didn't hear it, the coach told me, serious, like during plays, he's hugging this kid and telling him it's going to be okay and talking about cancer like it's nothing. Like, could you imagine a whole generation of people that like don't feel taboo about cancer that can talk
it's
about like
happening.
what mental health could do?
It's happening.
Exactly.
It's going to happen even more
Exactly.
so with your work because kids aren't
Mm-hmm.
tainted with the world's garbage. The
Mm-hmm.
baggage claim department of all of the emotional and governmental and economic issues of the day. So they can really be like an open sponge. And then when they're communicating with their friends who may not have the exposure to this kind of, you know, transparency and mental health and communication, and it's therapy. It's better than any therapist when Isaac talks to someone who's lived through, like himself living through your journey, and he talks to another son or daughter that's going through it with themselves or their parents. you know amazing mental health.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
amazing therapy. That's better than any,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Right.
degree that you could take out of books.
Right, because when you're
Realize
a
Your
kid,
career coach.
feeling isolated or that you're different is so scary. But when you put two people together or a whole bunch of kids who have the same thing or who've lived through it and then they aren't afraid, you're like, oh, okay, I can get through this. And we saw it with the little girl, Ashley, that he had spoken with. And the guidance counselor was like, it was just so amazing. Like, she's doing better in school and she's talking and like laughing. And it really opened my eyes. And I'm so glad he likes to talk about it. I don't force him to do anything. If he wants to, he will. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I'm just glad I was able to have that connection with him and the experience enough from my mom, what she did to share with my son, and it's been amazing.
it's all your fault and it's going to
My
spread like
respect.
wildfire.
Oh, yes. Your kid is amazing.
Thank
I
you.
just did an interview with a woman named Tiona Ducray, and she has a son and a daughter. And real similar to what Isaac's doing with his football team, when he was in high school, he was on the football team, and his mother, Tiona, was the team photographer. And so she'd be at every football game and and she was going through cancer treatments and she did not miss a game. She was there doing her photography, photographing the football team. And so the football team ended up rallying around Tiona. And one day they had a special night for her. She has pancreatic cancer. And the whole football team each gave her a rose during halftime, I think it was. And also they dedicated, they asked for donations for pancreatic cancer. And so the team rallied around her. And that kind of thing is just absolutely special. It is an amazing thing when people come together for an incredible cause. And that's what I love seeing, especially in future generations, growing up, that and you're playing a big part in this, Amanda, it is just the knowledge and sharing the compassion and the passion of this experience. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I mean, I am just so impressed. And you didn't even realize this talk was going to go in this direction. But I think it's so important and it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And Lihia, she is passionate about helping kids and working with kids, and she sees what I see and what we all see. It's
Mm-hmm.
just such an incredible thing. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing that.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna shut off the recording. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us here at the Cancer Conquering Community. We will see you next week. Uh, I mean, that was an amazing, amazing session. Thank you so much, Amanda, and everybody else who participated. We will see you next week on the Cancer Conquering Community.